I should mention before I start that I wrote this a couple weeks ago before I actually came to Jumpstart, and now that I'm here, I realize that hardly anything that I'm saying actually applies directly to you. It probably applies more to everybody who's not at Jumpstart. But it's an experience that I've gone through pretty much every single day of my life, and I'm sure most of you will have experienced something similar at some point. So, I'm going to talk about boxes. Boxes that the mail sits in, waiting to be collected by a postman or a home. Boxes that, oh crap, and I forget the line right away, always, every time. Sorry. You know, I was thinking that was not going to happen. I'm going to start again from me. So I'm going to talk about boxes. Boxes that the mail sits in, waiting to be collected by a postman or a home. Boxes that little green shoots pushed up out of the earth in, that will one day grow into exotic things like hedgerows. But I'm not going to talk about those kinds of boxes. Boxes that you can put things in, move somewhere else, never to be seen again when you up sticks and leave an entire lifetime behind. Boxes that the brand new refrigerator arrives in, that you know whether you are 5 or 25 is not actually a box, but really a fort or a car, depending on which way up it stands. But I'm not going to talk about those kinds of boxes. No, the boxes that I am going to talk about are the metaphysical boxes that reside inside the mind. The boxes that we feel a pressing, overwhelming need to fill with information. And so we strive to find even the most useless piece of information so we can take it and squirrel it away into the box in which it belongs. Sometimes that box doesn't exist yet. And easily we create a new one from the folds in our mind. Easily we create a new way to divide and to discriminate. We use our boxes to understand complex things, like people. As our 4th grade math teacher once told us, to understand a complex problem, one must first split it into smaller, more understandable components. And so we try to split people into smaller, more understandable components. Name, age, size, hair color. With each of these boxes, a person is reduced to a less complex problem, so we assume. Sense of humor, interests, accent, and we also assume our boxes to be mutually exclusive, that no one component will ever need more than one box. Politics, religion, but every once in a while we encounter someone who does not fit into a single box. Nationality. I am an English, German, Australian, American, Lebanese, Canadian. I do not fit into a single box. People cry out to me, how do you cope? Why don't you just pick one? They do not understand that one does not simply wake up one morning and verbally declare oneself a nationality. No, one simply is. One either identifies or one does not. But for those of you who don't understand, allow me to help you by taking my own complex nationality and splitting it into smaller, more understandable components. You might say to me, you were born in Australia. Why not be Australian? I lived in Australia until the age of 3. I remember only the pink walls of our kitchen and the jewel red of the flowers in our garden that I used to eat because they looked so pretty. How does that make me solely Australian? Okay, that I understand, you might say. Why not American? You sound American. Why not be American? I sound American because my mother is American. American all the way back to the Mayflower. Our family is steeped in the history of America. The good, the bad, the ugly. I was not born there. I have not lived there. How can I be solely American? Okay, I understand that too. How about Canada? Your father's Canadian. Why not be Canadian? My father was born and bred in Canada, but his father was Lebanese, and his mother was Welsh. When I think of Canada, I think of Lebanese aunts and uncles, and good food and huge families. I think of the struggles of immigration and integration. I think of our family's history in the Middle East, in Mexico, and on Ellis Island, where our name was invented by an uninterested customs agent. Canada is such a small part of that history. And again, I was not born here, and up until now, I have never lived here. How can I be solely Canadian? That you understand too, but our boxes are persistent, so you try one more time. What about where you grew up? Surely you can say you are from there. 4 years ago, I would be standing in front of you today saying without a shred of doubt in my mind that I was German. I grew up there, my childhood is there, even one of my languages is there. Even now, I'm picky about bread. I am organized to the point of obsession, and when I get married, I will wear that ring on my right hand. But when I turned 13, my parents took my carefully constructed cocoon of a world and turned it upside down and inside out when we packed all of our things into one of those other kinds of boxes and up sticks and left that entire lifetime behind and moved to England. And 4 years ago, that same scared, wide-eyed little girl that bravely stepped out into a completely new world realized that she had changed, and she could no longer call herself solely German. Now, I mention the weather in every conversation. I form a nice, orderly queue for everything, and I make a proper cup of tea. But you would ask me to choose one of these lifetimes over another? I will not remove one childhood from my life simply to fit into one of your boxes in the same way that I will not remove my right hand simply to show that I am left-handed. That I understand too, and here you will realize that you have run out of boxes. But you should also realize that it isn't that complicated after all. These associations, these histories are what make us the people who stand in front of you today. Our nationalities are the smaller, more understandable components of our complex personalities. And if you can't understand our nationalities, honey, you sure ain't ready for the rest of us. I am an English, German, Australian, American, Lebanese, Canadian. I do not tessellate into a convenient cubic cosmos. I do not fit into a box. Woo!